knows the world will never be the same without his presence. Uncle Kamodo, as we called him, Peter Washosho, or Kamodo Kanini, brought so much joy in our lives and left us with a treasure of troubled memories. We will not be able to forget him. I still remember the time when I got hired by my grandfather at his store, Karigatare Provision Store in Moranga Town. My colleague was my uncle Kamodo, my buddy. As we were waiting for high school results, I developed a personal relationship with him to a point of if I had a new boyfriend, I always asked for his approval. Sometimes he could tell me negative and I took it. He made customers smile at the store as they were sitting at the bench right there at our store, drinking soda. With a quote, he always told the customers to shamane tieko, just to start a conversation. And the next one would be, that was his quote all the time to the customers, and I found that very unique. Sometimes he has not even seen the person, but he will start a conversation. Shamane tieko. We continued connecting while I moved to Nairobi to a new job. And every time he came to Nairobi, he called my office, and we always went to Liberal, to eat Nyamachoma with him. When I came to America, I came some months before him. I had family here, and I never really, when Uncle Kamodo came, that's the time I felt a special connection. It's only my cousin Marianne who came after me. When Uncle Kamodo came, I really felt I've had now good company, because I came here, left my child in Africa, and then later my child followed me. I felt a special connection with my uncle. Every time I called him, and I really felt special. I live in Baltimore, by the way, Maryland, and I always told people, don't think I don't have family here. I have my uncle in North Carolina. He encouraged me to invest in Kenya, quoting Morimo Tiwago Toro. He always pushed me to buy property in Kenya, advising me not to carry my family's burdens, to focus on me and my child. And well, it's going to be a very difficult time without him. It's also a happy thought knowing that wherever he is, he's spreading happiness with angels, working in my Heavenly Father's guidance. The Lord given and the Lord taken. Praise be the name of the Lord.
Praise the Lord. Amen. Praise the Lord. Amen. My name is Stephen Monga, or Stephen Mochono, and I'm here as a family. And I made a decision that after we heard the news and we realized what has happened, that it has come time to celebrate my cousin, Mr. Kamodo. It's been a very, very difficult time, but and I asked myself at some point why I would lose a man that was such a pillar in our community. But as my friends told me, that God also don't like the bad ones. So he took one of the best. The man that's laying in front of you is a man that has planted seeds. And in fact, I wrote down the speech that I would be reading today, but I realized that sometimes things that are not programs are better. I'm here to celebrate the life that this man has lived. This man that I have known, I was born in 1974, and he was born in 1967. And when I was going to school, which him and his father had a business within less than a mile from the school, and my first encounter with him was I had walked over from school to the shop to buy a sonda. And for those who are here in the United States now, you can realize the significance of a sonda in Kenya during that time. Soda was something major. And when I went to purchase the soda, he said, no, you are not going to pay. And I wasn't quite sure who he was at the time, because mind you, I was very young at the time. And he said, no, you're not going to pay. There was customers, so I did not insist. I took the soda and left. And then I asked my mother, the man that I tried to pay a soda, and he said, don't pay. And he said, that's what my mother told me, that's your cousin. And from that moment, I took advantage of it and kept going. My mother told me, now you need to cut it off. This is the kind of a man he was. In fact, the shop that was set up in Muranga, for those, we speak Kikuyu language. And in fact, the name of the shop, Gatere, is basically a fruit. And this is what these men have done. He has planted trees. He has planted trees. He has planted trees of love. He has planted trees of family. When we come here, when we leave our rural areas to come here to the United States, it takes a lot of discipline to keep in touch with the rest of the families and friends. This man has gone beyond that. He has challenged the old definition of family. Every time I would come to his house, he would tell me, this is family, this is my brother. Whether related my brother or not. So my responsibility from now is to ensure that we carry on what this man has done. He has planted the tree of neighborhood. People that are within his neighbor know who he is. My father, when I got in trouble, and trust me, I have my good share of this. This is the man that would call my father, and then I will call him. Mind you, I would call him before I talk to my dad, so he can soften the caution for me. And I would ask him, what does my father think about this? And he tells me everything is okay. This man means so much to us. And for our friends here in the United States, for our family members, and the church. I live in 20 miles off Charlotte, North Carolina. And when I came here, I was shocked. But then again, I remembered what he has done back home. What you're seeing here is exactly what he has done back home. His sons are disciplined. They are the kids that everybody would like to have. Mama Muchai, I'm within where I grew up in the rural area. I'm within a walking distance to Mama Muchai's house. And believe me, my mother and her mother, they are constantly together. We have society that is stick together. And the man has carried those traditions over here to the United States. And I feel like my responsibility and our responsibility here now is to carry on what our brother has done. We have cried enough. It is time to stand up and continue what this man has planted. We're gonna miss him, but we have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to celebrate of what he has done. There is a lot of people, when we go back home, when the funeral is taking place back in Kenya, the amount of people that will be there will be shocking, because this man is well known. He has lived an example. It's a tall order for me to try to maintain what this man has done. So I would encourage all of us, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're tall, whether you're short, whether you are related by blood or just by friends. Remember, sometimes we had some plans. In fact, we were supposed to do some things together. And I had no clue what was transpiring. Sometimes we have our own plans, but God has better plans for us. When I literally fall on my knees. And then I remembered, we was talking about expanding business. And one of the things that I remember most about him was the fact that when he was back home, when I was a young boy, he always carried a camera, a Kodak camera.